here, Flip Anything USA. Hope everybody had a great New Year, a celebration, and a Christmas. I know I did. Very nice to hang with the family and see all my kids. I'm a grandpa this year, so it's really been it's kind of a new experience. Really, really cool. I have a little guy that is from me, and passing on the name. Anyways, so today we're going to do a video here on Richard Fain. He's got a video called "I Can't Make the Monthly Payment on My Ferrari 488 Spider." That's what he calls, and I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch it all, but it made me think about a lot of things. Certainly my sensibilities on buying a car are nothing like Richard's, and we'll talk a little bit about that. When he talks about his car, he admittedly talks about he's going to lose money on it, which he's not a good car investor. There's different ways of approaching buying a car. Good night, son. And I can tell you, I don't like his because, he's already talking about buying it and losing money on it. And, and really we're going into like a car crash right now. It would be prudent to wait to buy this car, probably get a much better deal in 6 months. And, rather than suffer the damage that's coming, he could have probably, cashed in on it and made a little money on it. And so, look, I'm going to go ahead and start this. We'll watch this, and then I'm going to show you a couple of my cars that I bought, and I'll explain the reasons I bought them and my sensibilities on that. Also, if you would, let me know that the audio is good, and if you could give me a like and a subscribe, I'd appreciate that. Helps the channel, and we'll get into it in 1 second.
It's the best thing I ever did.
All right, so let's play this, and I may speed him up just a little bit. Richard Fain, I don't know much about him. He talks about stocks, and I'm not much of a stock fan. He pushes, with some, I don't know, you'll see get some free stocks, that sort of thing. I don't know if he shares his portfolio. Who here watching right now watches Richard Fain? He seems like a nice guy. I don't know. Like I said, he doesn't seem like a real estate investor. I'm looking at the homes in the background in the neighborhood. Nice neighborhood, but the cars he describes are probably worth as much as his house. Draw from that whatever you want. Don't know. I don't know. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and start this thing, and feel free to chime in and with any comments that you got, and I'll break away to address anybody's comments that go in there, and let's go ahead and get this thing started.
In today's video, I want to walk you guys through how much money do you need to make in order to afford one of these bad boys right here? A Ferrari 488 Spider. Now, some of y'all might say, well, goodness gracious, you can't afford it unless you can just pay cash for it.
Now, so I would agree with that. You can't afford it. You really can't afford a car like that unless you can pay cash for it. But I'll even go one step further. You can't afford that car unless you can afford to buy 20 of them cash, okay? Because if you can't afford to pay cash for it, or to buy 20 of them, then you really already have your priorities screwed up, because I would never consider buying a car like that. For me, in general, I'd probably never do it anyways. But I won't spend on a car even 1% of my worth. You know what I mean? I wouldn't spend 1% of my worth on a car. I just wouldn't do it. I have higher standards of making money and having money put away. Hey, Shane, good to see you in here. More of a stock guy. Yeah, I gathered that. Thanks, Greg. But so again, some of the questions he asked to me are kind of more consumer, not really, I don't know. I get the feeling, he makes his money from his channel here, and that's fine. And I don't know how much money he makes in stocks, but, again, just already saying, you'll see more. I'm a little bit ahead of you, so we'll watch some more of this. But, yeah, listen, if you can't afford to pay cash for a car like that, you shouldn't be buying it. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't finance it, but if you can't afford to pay cash for it, or maybe I would say if you can't afford to pay cash for 10 of them, or maybe 20 of them, you shouldn't even finance the car, right? You shouldn't buy it, period, if you don't have the money to really buy something like that. by 10 or times 20. Let's keep watching.
Well, got to let you guys in on a little secret. Most folks that buy these cars, although they have the cash to pay for it in cash, they don't pay for them in cash. A lot of times they'll lease them, or they'll simply just take a loan out. Now, in my garage.
Now, what he didn't mention is interest. Okay, so interest rate matters, right? I mean, I can tell you, I bought a Porsche Cayenne. I could have bought 10 of them, no problem, at the time that I bought it. I mean, I had that much cash at hand. I could have probably bought 30 of them, to be honest. But I financed it. But the reason I financed it is because I got 2.9% interest, really crazy low interest rate that was offered at the time. And that's why I did it.
I got 3 cars. I got the 488, I got an RS6 Avant, and I got a Lambo truck.
I don't know what any of those are worth. Anybody knows what a Lambo truck is worth? And like I said, a Savant. I don't know what that is. I don't know what car that is anyways.
Urus Lamborghini. Now, my Urus Lamborghini and the RS6 are paid for. I just paid cash for them. But on this guy right here, I didn't. And the reason I didn't pay cash, number one, it was more expensive than my other 2 cars. But also, I thought about the opportunity costs associated with taking, $300,000 out of my investments, out of my cash flow, and just paying off this car. Now, although I love this car, it's not an appreciating asset. It's a depreciating asset. So when I go to sell it, I'm going to get less than what I paid for it. So for me, paying for it in cash didn't make any sense. I said, well, here's.
So I'm going to just say right there, buying it doesn't really make any sense. Okay? It doesn't. It doesn't even make any sense to buy this car. Knowing that you're going to sell it and take a hit on it pretty quickly. It's not good investment sense at all. And I'm going to talk about that for a minute because, let's say like Manny Koshbin, right? If you guys know who Manny Koshbin, and he's got, I don't know, probably $10 million in cars, maybe $20 million in cars. But what Manny does when he buys a car, I think he's probably got a Bugatti, a Chiron. He's got some of these, super wildly crazy McLaren. But when he buys them, he buys kind of like one of a kind. In other words, when he buys those cars, they are an investment. When he buys them, they're special for one reason or another, where he anticipates making money on them. So he looks at them as an investment. So he still gets crazy, far more expensive car than even this. So he gets awesome car, but he's got a strategy behind it, that it's worth considerably more than he's paying for it, or it will be worth as much or more in the future when he sells it, which I like that. That makes sense. It makes sense. It's like buying a piece of property that you're buying it under market, right? Or he's speculating a little bit, which is still, anyways, either way, I'm not crazy about buying a depreciating asset. I'm not. And then I'm going to explain more about how I buy cars.
What I'll do, I'll take a loan out for it, make monthly payments, and then I'll take the $300K and I'll keep it in the stock market to multiply itself.
Okay, now already you guys know I can't stand the stock market, and I've never seen anybody come close to making the money I make with stocks as I make with real estate, which if you just got here, be sure to get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It'd be the best $20 you spend, and you can get it on, I'll read the book to you if you get an Audible. I've been making money in real estate for 43 years, and it just doesn't even come close. I've got many students in my class already that have become millionaires in the last 3.5 years, and that's how long I've been mentoring. I've only been mentoring for 3.5 years, and many of my students are, like I say, millionaires and multimillionaires, and they didn't start that way, and they are now, and so very life-changing, very quick. So be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You want to learn more about my channel if you're new here, but for sure get that book and check it out when we get to the end of here. Let's keep watching.
And if you know anything about the stock market in 2024, I was right to do that because it was a monster year, right? But back to how much do you need to make to pay for one of these things? Now, this particular one right here, my monthly payment is about $2,500 per month. So what kind of income do I need to have in order to afford that? Well,
now again, he didn't speak to interest. When he doesn't speak to the interest that he's paying on that, what percentage of that $2,500 a month is interest. It just makes me, he's leaving out a big detail that, as a good investor, you'd want to share.
Before we get into the income, let me tell you some things that I think are important that, if you're going to go out and buy one of these, you need to have in your financial picture. Number one, you can't have any other consumer debt, right? I mean, no credit card debt, no student loan debt, no payday loan debt, no credit
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't have student loan debt for sure.
card debt, nothing. Can't have any other kind of debt. That's number one. And then number two, when you look at these type of cars,
Well, you can have, listen, I've got, millions and millions of dollars in debt, but I make money on all that debt, right? In other words, whatever I'm paying the bank, I'm making twice again. In other words, I pay 3%, I'm probably making 6 on the borrowed money, or vice versa. Actually, if I'm paying 6, I'm probably making 3, something like that.
you got to say to yourself, what percentage of my income should I really be spending on a car payment? The rule of thumb is you should not be spending any more than 10% of your income on a car. Matter of fact, on an exotic car like this, you probably need to be about 5%. Now, lucky for me, I own my own business. I know how to generate cash, and I make way more money on a yearly basis than what it costs to service the debt on this car. You're talking about $30,000 a year in debt service. When you tack on the insurance, let's say it costs me $2,000 a year to insure it. So that's $32,000 a year for the next, 6 years it would cost me, right? So I should be somewhere in that $300,000 per year range if I'm talking about 10%. I should be in that $600,000 a year range if I'm talking about 5%.
I'm going to speed him up just a hair. He talks a little bit slow, for me anyways. Let's keep going.
Right? And I will tell you, I make above both of those numbers. So I can justify paying $2,500 a month plus another, $2,000 a year to insure this thing. I can get away with that because I make a lot of income.
Okay, so he's really talking like a typical consumer. When he says that I don't spend more than 10% of my income, or that's the rule. Somewhere he got that rule, or 5% on more of a supercar or expensive car. And I understand to a degree the reasoning there. I do, but again, you want to talk about the interest rate? But he's already talking about buying a depreciating asset. I'm not crazy about that. I mean, you can reward yourself in life for sure, do things, but anyways, but. Again, well, let's just keep playing.
Also, my net worth is in the 7-figure range. So I got liquidity through investments in cash that I could pay this thing off if I did get into a financial bind and I couldn't make the monthly payment anymore. Let's say my income disappeared and I just don't have no income coming in. Then I could go to my investments or go to my cash reserves, take out the money and pay this off.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't buy anything. Like I said, we kind of starting at the beginning. You shouldn't buy anything that you can't afford to pay cash for it. Doesn't mean you have to pay cash for it, but I say you should be able to pay cash for it 10 times, 20 times before you buy a car like that, or any car for that matter. I mean, not any car. Listen, when you're brand new, starting out in the adult world, you got to have, number one thing you got to have is you got to have you have to have good transportation, right? I don't care if you have nothing to your name. You got to have a decent car. You want to be on time. You don't want to destroy your value as an employee or as a business person. You're not showing up on time. I mean, you just destroy your credibility as a business person immediately when you're late to anything. So anyways, I'd say it's fine to get a fine car in the beginning, just because you're beginning, but after that, if you're going to start spending, bigger money and stuff, then yeah, it's got to be like a nothing to you. Let's keep. And Carl just wrote, "What is the point of listening to this crap?" Okay, there's a point. Okay, because I'm going to give you some great stuff, Carl. Hang on.
Another reason a lot of people finance these cars instead of paying them off in cash is because they don't keep them that long.
Now, I don't understand that statement. He said one of the reasons people finance these things is because they're not going to keep it that long. Actually, I think that would be a better argument for paying cash for it. If you're not going to keep it that long, you're just going to get your cash back anyways. But it really doesn't make any sense to me, because how does that matter? How does that matter if you're going to keep it or not? If the reason they finance it is because they're not going to keep it that long. It doesn't matter. Loss is still a loss, right? It doesn't matter if you buy the car for $300 and you sell it for $250. What's the matter if you lost 50 cash or either way? You got to pay the bank. You lose. It's the same either way, which you lose. So I don't understand the financing aspect of that. I think people that finance cars like that, listen, it doesn't really mean anything, but because you don't know, right? You see a car. Maybe the guy, if you see me driving that car, you can rest assured I can buy 20 of them cash. I wouldn't buy it otherwise. I mean, I just wouldn't buy it. It's just beyond my sensibilities to do that. But some people will finance. People finance stuff all the time. They call it keeping up with the Joneses, right? It's an old statement, keeping up with the Joneses. They buy stuff that they can't afford, and I don't recommend that. And I'm going to get to some good stuff, and I'm going to show you my cars. So hang in there, Carl.
For me personally, I won't keep this car for 6 years. I got the loan, I believe, for 6 years. 6 or 7 years I got the loan, but I won't keep it that long. I'll probably keep it 1 year. And then I'll get rid of it and I'll get something else.
Okay, so listen, I would just tell you, Richard, right now, if you're only going to keep the car a year, just buy last year's model. Let somebody else, take it in the shorts on the depreciation. I seriously doubt the cars change much from 1 year to the next. But let's keep watching.
For me, it makes sense to just say, okay, $32,000, I'm going to keep this thing 1 year, go ahead then and take the loan. As long as the $300,000 that I would have spent to pay cash is in the market and it returns to me more than $32,000, which of course in 2024 it did, right?
So let's talk about that for a second. Because I'm going to give you he's talking about, I think, 50% or something, or overall, or 25%. So on 300 grand, he would have made 75,000 bucks. So he justifies it how he does. Listen, I bought 4 houses for 300 grand a piece, roughly. Some have bought less, some have paid a little bit more. I'm making over 100 grand on each of those houses. And so it's, in other words, make 100 grand on 300 grand in a couple months, right? I just had one that I actually kind of did what I call leapfrog. And if you have my book, you know what I'm talking about. But I took 300 actually it was 225. No, it was 320. And I bought a house, sold it for 400,000 a month later. Just did this, one of my most recent videos, by the way. I wouldn't feel so comfortable with what he's talking about with the stock, because he had a good year. You know what I mean? A chance of you repeating that again and again, not likely from what I've seen.
That $300,000 I would have spent, I didn't spend it. I kept it in the market, and just my S&P 500 ETF alone returned, I believe, 25% in 2024. So you can see right there, I made way more than what the monthly payment was, right? I was in FTEC, the Magnificent Seven. I was in the video. So
all right. So look, I'm going to tell you a guy that had the best car advice I've ever heard in my life, ever. Okay. And that's a guy named Charles Gibbons. I want to show you this guy. He's long dead, but this guy here was a great, really just a smart, really cool dude. I can't remember when he died. Been a while. But this guy here, Charles Gibbons, and he wrote a book called Wealth Without Risk. And I recommend it. I'm not saying every chapter he has in the book is perfect. He actually got in a jam with a lawsuit over somebody. He talks about, having some insurance and canceling others, and just kind of the odds on that thing. But what I come away with his book when he first come out was he just said, buy your dream car, buy the car of your dreams 3 years late. In other words, buy the car of your dreams like 2 years old. And here's his book, by the way. Let's get this out. I don't know if I can even make it very big, but you can see it right there, right? Wealth Without Risk. I urge you to get that book. It's an old book, but it's a smart book, right? It was a smart guy. And but what he had said that really stuck with me was, buy the car of your dreams used. Just buy the car of your dreams 2 years old, right? Buy it 2 years later, and you'll save a shit pot full of money. And he was right. And in fact, I'm going to show you my car here in a minute too, or my latest purchase, right? I have 4 cars.
So my overall portfolio did way better than 25%, right? My overall portfolio, when it's blended
I don't care about that. Let's keep moving.
enough, paid for this liability. Does it make sense to finance one of these things, or do you believe you should just pay cash for it? I know some of you do believe if you can't pay cash, then guess
You
what?
sound like he's struggling
You
with
can't
that
afford it.
question.
I don't quite believe that,
No,
but I told you what the parameters are for me, right? You got no more than 5% of.
All right, we don't hear that again. We heard the parameters. It is a cool looking car.
Like I said, now I
It's
got
pretty, it's cute.
the Lamborghini Urus in the garage as well, and I got the RS6 Avant, which is my
I'm gonna
daily.
show you my cars next,
Both of those guys are in the garages, and but yeah, man, look at this thing. I'm gonna let you guys. Now, forgive me. Like I said, I've been driving, and
I'm actually not a huge car guy, but it's kind of, oh man, you gotta look at this. Oh,
honestly, it's dirty. I need to vacuum it out. And
look at that. That is filthy. Look at that. You see that? That is disgusting. No, I'm kidding.
I got some other stuff in here, my wallet and my second cell phone. But as you can see, man, this thing is carbon. Let me just move my little seat thing that I drive with. But check out those seats, man, with the yellow stitching. You got the yellow rev counter right there. I'm trying not to get in this thing. Carbon fiber everywhere, guys. The whole thing is carbon fiber. You got.
So just think about this. If he loses, whatever, spends 30,000 a year on interest or whatever it is, or somewhere close to that, and then he loses another 60 on depreciation. He loses 100 grand on this car. It's a terrible investment. Okay, it's a terrible investment. It's not even an investment, right? Now here, I uploaded a video just a little earlier because I knew I couldn't walk out here live, but I'll show you one of my cars. Where is it? Oh my God! Today move this over here a little bit. Maybe. Nope. Well, actually, this is earlier. You're going to see this video coming soon, folks. I upgraded this fence. You see that? That's an electric gate. And basically, I went and welded these tips on. I made a jig for the welder so these things will go on. It's pretty. Look at that fence. And then it's going to go to the sandblaster, and then it's going to get powder coated, and that's going to be a beautiful electric gate, completely rejuvenated. And I'm getting off subject, so let's get rid of that. And let's get to the video I just uploaded. Where did that thing go? Bear with me. All right. Let's watch this, guys, and feel free to comment. And what I'm gonna show you is I'm gonna show you a couple of my cars, and I'll explain I'll explain the reasoning behind it. Right? Let me move this over so you can get a better shot. So this is me about 20 minutes ago, right? Because I knew I was going to make this video. So I took this. So go ahead and watch this. Any comments, just go right ahead. I hope you can hear it. All right, so look, now I'm going to show you a couple of my cars and why I bought the ones I bought. And this one, so here, take a look at this. First of all, this is a Porsche Cayenne. In fact, I did a video on it when I purchased this one. Now, I tried like hell to buy this used. I was looking back in 2018, and I saw a 2016 GTS fully loaded with carbon fiber, raised and lowered, super fast, super powerful. This thing's a mess because it's one of my working cars, right? Anyways, Richard's worried about his being dirty. And I've got tools in the trunk and everything else. This is a great car. This is actually a four-wheel drive. It's actually a decent utility vehicle, to be quite honest. Even in the back of this thing, you goes, I'm a real estate investor. So in fact here, I got my trash from the lake. Actually, I just came from the lake house. I got some great video I need to share with you on that too, by the way. But anyways, there's tools, there's junk in there, and now let me show you one of my latest cars. So now, I wanted to buy this car used. I was looking hard. In fact, I was so upset because the 2016 that I was looking at in 2018, I could have got it for $58,000, and I didn't know it was a good deal at the time. And I said, I'll give you 48. Then I went home and looked, I go, shit, that's a great deal for 58. Car was gone. I'm not going to take you over there. This is my other home over there, by the way. I have two homes next to each other. But now, this is the one that I did buy recently. Now, this is awesome. This is a Mercedes-Benz GLC 63 AMG. So it's an AMG GLC 63S. Again, talk about dirty cars, okay? I drive the shit out of my cars, and I'm not even a super car guy. But, and you're gonna see, I just come back from the lake in that car, but actually it was the lake day before in this one. This one here, also fairly messy. I'm not hiding nothing. Loaded with carbon fiber, but here's a distinct difference. Beautiful seats, super comfortable. This is like one of the fastest cars out there. You know, this has got a twin turbo, puts out 520 horsepower. I mean, if I care to go faster, and believe me, this thing is really, really fast. Look it up. It's really, really fast. This is an RV, right? I like RVs, right? This is an RV. This is an RV. Actually, over there, I have another beautiful RV, a 97 Toyota Land Cruiser. Perfect. One of my students actually helped me find it. And thanks again. I appreciate that. I'm trying to remember his name. Sorry. But he was in Illinois, and it was very convenient.
Hi.
But again, now why did I buy this? This is about $105,000, $110,000 car new. I bought it with low miles, I think 40-something thousand miles on it, and I got it for $58,000. I did. I bought this one for $58,000. Could have bought the one I was saying before. I could have bought like that, the 16. That was $58, but I got this one, so I got it for about half price. That is good reasoning on buying a car. Now, the depreciation. He talked about depreciation, the value of the car going down. Well, for sure, the value of a brand new car is going to go down like a rock, like just horrible. This one is not going to go down so much. Somebody before me already lost $50,000 on this car. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Anyhow, let's go back inside. All right, so look, now I'm going to show you. So, anyways, yeah, obviously I'm not the slickest producer here on videos. Let's get back to Richard's. God, where does video go? I got to find his video on my screen, guys. Sorry about that. There we go. All right, so back to Richard's video. So you see where I'm going with this. You know, obviously that's not a Ferrari.
Carbon
It's a
fiber
Mercedes.
buckets right here.
And
Let
like
me see
I
if I
said,
can show
it's
you
actually
those
a very,
carbon
very
fiber
fast
buckets.
Mercedes.
See, those are the carbon fiber
If
buckets.
you're into speed,
Things
and
sick,
I really
man.
like speed and performance. And I called it an RV. It's really not an RV either.
The naturally aspirated V8 sounded amazing. Now, this is twin turbo right here. But shoot, man, this thing is crazy.
Somebody, hey,
I got
if you
the
guys watching from
Omega
my,
on today.
his Spider,
Omega C
488
Master.
Spider,
That's what's on the
my
wrist today.
AMG 63.
Man, this thing is. I'm loving this. I'm back collecting watches
would
again,
hope that
guys.
was
So
faster.
y'all will see some various
But
things
it's
on the
fast,
wrist.
believe
Let
me.
me know what y'all think about the 488, the monthly payment on it. Can I afford it? Should I pay cash? Drop it all down in the comment box. If
Well, anyways. So it now from
You
here,
want up to 15
he goes
free
into his
stocks.
pitch on.
when you open a new Moomoo brokerage account, guys, don't delay, act today.
Thought
Get
it
down
was
to the description
Weeble,
box.
but
Click on
I
that
don't-
Moomoo link.
I don't know, this
Open up
stock
that
stuff
Moomoo
is-
account. Go get
Sharon, get your free shares or whatever. Anyways, nice job, Richard, sharing what you shared. Appreciate that. Totally disagree with your sensibilities on it, but not completely. It's just a little bit more consumerish. Not so. I don't think it's a real savvy investor would buy like that, invest like that. To be quite honest, some of the comments here. This guy is full. Yeah, I don't know. Carl, whatever. Kevin wrote, it's nice, but I'd rather buy a cash flow property. Now, listen, that's why I say, the sensibility as an investor, like I say, I wouldn't buy a car like that. I don't even think in terms of how can I make the payment? Is the payment only 5% of my annual income or 10% of my, that would be a deal killer, number one. I would never do it if it would take 5% of my income to buy a car. So we're in a different world altogether anyways. But would I, like I say, my sensibility, I got to pay, I should be able to buy 10 of them or 20 of them, okay? In other words, I'm not going to buy a $300,000 car, unless I have $30 million or something like that. It's going to be vastly different. I mean, cash, or $3 million cash available to me. But I wouldn't buy it still. I wouldn't even buy a $300,000 car unless I had at least $30 million. That would be 1%, right? My 1% rule. So, and I urge anybody to kind of look at more things like the way that I described, because it's more conservative and it puts more if you want a car like that, it puts you under more pressure to make more money to justify it, okay? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video. I would tell you that, there's nothing like real estate, and I always like to share my students. My students are extremely successful, and, they've kind of done very, very well with real estate. The 3.5 years that I've been sharing, I got Jerry here. He made over $2.5 million. Almost everybody you see on this page here has made $1 million. Not every one of them, but almost every one of them have made $1 million or more. Some made $4 million. Investing in real estate since getting in my mentorship. It really is super real. Shane in here, actually, he was actually in here early. Hey, Shane. Yeah, Shane was in here. He's made $350,000, right? He's only been in the class about 2 years. So that's the kind of power that real estate has. There's just nothing like it. I promise you, there's nothing like it. You got to get into real estate. I'm telling you. And get my book again, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's been a bestseller on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. And listen, don't get fooled by a fake guru. And I'm not saying Richard is a fake guru, but man, there's a bunch of them in the real estate market. I'm telling you, if you just look up real estate, and chances are, first 30 people you're going to see are fake. They don't have the credibility. They don't have the chops. They can't show you the main thing that you'd want to see is, let's see the results. Do you have students that are millionaires? Do you have students that have made whatever hundreds of thousands of dollars a year? Have you made hundreds of thousands of dollars? Most of these fake gurus, they can't even show you where they've made $1 million in real estate. Seriously, it's crazy. They were selling courses before they ever made any money. It's pathetic. And then they make money on these shitty courses, and then they take that course money and they buy a piece of real estate and they go, yeah, look what I bought. But they didn't buy it from making money in real estate. That's a key difference, and that's where I've made all my money. And I always like to share this, and I don't want to bore you, but if you're new to my channel, you got to know, the properties that I buy and the things that makes me distinctly different from others is the fact that I have, that I have the real estate chops, the experience that you want to have from an investor, that's teaching you, right? All these properties, that's my first $1 million made when I was a kid, in my 20s. Right back in the 80s, I made over $1 million back in the 80s, from 1981 to really to 1988, 87, right in there, and it's been full-time investor ever since, and there's just nothing like it. You just can't believe it. And then you go here, more recent days, last 30 years, and I've done hundreds of deals. When I say deals, when I make money, I make hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars sometimes on a single real estate deal. If you look at my portfolio, every one of these dots represents a building or something, on average, probably, $700,000-800,000 per dot there at least. I've made millions of dollars on apartment buildings, commercial buildings, industrial buildings, just anything you want to see. And I'm an open book. Believe me, I love to share because I know that the fake gurus can't. So this is why I try to exploit this stuff and make it so clear. There's houses. You like houses, that's great. You like, office buildings, and this is an office building of mine. Something like this, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year income. Cross street from that, got 2 more buildings cross street from that. Again, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Collectively, these assets bring me in hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. Hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. Some of you guys are interested in apartment buildings. Look, I love apartments. Everything I buy, the criteria I have for apartments, folks, or anything that I buy, those are all 3 of these apartment buildings. I made almost a couple $1 million between these 3. And there's a 21 unit right there. There's a 13 unit, and there's 24 unit. And that's how close and all from individual people. The deals are all around you. That's what I'd like to show people. And I can prove it. The deals are right under your nose, and you just don't know it. And you're never going to know unless you get some training. Anyways, that's an industrial building. I bought that building for $240,000. I sold that building for $1,725,000. So I made $1.5 million on that, not to mention $60,000 to $90,000 a year rent on that building. So we got apartments, right? I showed you houses. There's houses galore. I got all kinds of houses. In fact, on 3 houses that you see right here, actually I sold these 2. I own all 4 of these right here. 2 across, 2 corners, 2 across, probably several more in the same neighborhood, but I sold 2 of these houses and one of these houses over here. and I made about $1.6 million on those, and I ended up buying, industrial building down the street that gives me $12,000 a month income now, just from that one building. So think about that. 3 little houses I paid $129,000 a piece for, and now that asset, those 3 houses, turned into a building that brings me $12,000 a month income. So anyways, that's the power of real estate. Really urge you to look into it. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Never steer you wrong, never lie to you, never misrepresent anything. In fact, I always try to under promise and over deliver. That's kind of been my motto. And you can check out the people that have visited me, the people that have been in my mentorship, people that bought my book. Urge you to do that if you really, because this make 2025 your year to become a millionaire. You can become a millionaire many times over. I have students that have done it in just 3.5 years, and it's completely possible. You just have to see it to believe it. Normally, I do webinars on Thursday night. I'm not doing one tonight. May do one Saturday, but all you got to do is just go right here to flipanythingusa.com and just fill that. Just you can go to webinar, or you can go to apply for mentorship. That's really the best one to go to. Go to apply for mentorship. Fill out this little tiny form. You'll be in my email list, and you'll be able to have a direct phone call with me. I do phone consults all the time, but you'll get a free one. You get a free one. Just fill that out, because we'll talk. And if you qualify for a good match, I'll let you know if you're qualified for mentorship. No pressure ever with me to come into the mentorship. I don't want anybody inside, unless you gotta want it. You gotta want it. You're not going to be a millionaire unless you want it. You gotta want it. So, anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see y'all later.
Stop and listen. Time is on a mission to eliminate all the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything. USA, go.
You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, flipanythingusa.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face to face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years.